Ever seen those pictures of sprawling, futuristic cities, completely empty? Welcome to the world of China's ghost cities. For years, these images have fascinated and baffled the world. We've heard tales of massive urban projects, built for millions, yet inhabited by only a few hundred. Today, we're not just looking back at how they were built. We're taking a speculative leap forward to the year 2026 to understand what has become of them, what happened to the dream of instant urbanization, and what are the consequences for the people, the economy, and the world. This is the story of China's ghost cities, from boom to bubble and beyond. To understand the ghost cities of 2026, we first need to rewind. Back in the early 2000s, China was undergoing the largest and fastest urbanization in human history. The government's plan was ambitious: move hundreds of millions of people from rural areas into brand new cities. Local governments, fueled by a desire for economic growth and armed with easy access to loans, went on a building spree of epic proportions. They weren't just building apartment blocks, they were creating entire metropolises from scratch. Think vast public squares, state-of-the-art subway systems, gleaming shopping malls, and thousands upon thousands of residential towers. The logic seemed sound at the time. Real estate was seen as the safest investment. For ordinary Chinese families, buying a property, or even multiple properties, was the primary way to build wealth. This created a speculative frenzy. People bought apartments in these new cities not to live in, but as an investment, betting that prices would only go up as people flooded in. This demand, whether real or speculative, drove prices higher and encouraged even more construction. Cities like Ordos in Inner Mongolia became the poster child for this phenomenon, with its Kangbashi new area built for 1 million people, but remaining eerily empty for years. It was a cycle of build, buy, and repeat, creating a massive real estate bubble. But every bubble, by its nature, is destined to pop. Around the late 2010s and early 2020s, the cracks began to show. The central government, realizing the immense risk this bubble posed to the entire financial system, started to crack down. They introduced policies to curb speculation and restrict lending to over-leveraged property developers. This is where the music stopped. Developers who had borrowed billions to fund their massive projects suddenly found themselves cut off from cash. Giants of the industry began to default on their debts, sending shockwaves through the economy. The collapse was not a single event, but a slow, grinding halt. Construction cranes stopped moving. Half-finished apartment buildings stood like concrete skeletons against the skyline. For the millions who had poured their life savings into these properties, the dream turned into a nightmare. They were left with an apartment they couldn't live in a city that didn't exist, and a mortgage they still had to pay. The promise of a thriving urban future had evaporated, leaving behind a landscape of debt and disillusionment. Now, let's fast forward to our speculative present. The year 2026. What does China look like after the Great Real Estate Reckoning? The consequences are deep and widespread. First, the economic impact. The collapse of the property sector triggered a prolonged period of slow growth. Since real estate and related industries once accounted for a huge chunk of China's GDP, their decline created a massive hole that other sectors couldn't fill quickly enough. Local governments, which relied heavily on land sales to fund their budgets, are now facing severe financial strain. This means less money for public services like healthcare, education, and infrastructure maintenance in established cities, not just the new ones. The social fabric has also been torn. A generation of middle-class citizens who bet their future on property have seen their wealth evaporate. This has led to widespread social discontent. The mortgage boycott movement that started in the early 2020s, where homeowners refused to pay mortgages on unfinished homes, has grown into a larger crisis of confidence. Trust in the financial system and local governments is at a historic low. People are more cautious, saving more and spending less, which further dampens economic activity. The dream of endless prosperity has been replaced by a much harsher reality of economic uncertainty. So what has become of the ghost cities themselves? The picture in 2026 is varied, a patchwork of failure and faint glimmers of hope. Many of the smaller, more remote projects remain truly abandoned. These are the modern ruins of the 21st century. Nature is slowly starting to reclaim them. Weeds grow through cracks in the plazas, and dust gathers in the lobbies of empty skyscrapers. They serve as stark monuments to failed ambition and financial folly, attracting urban explorers and photographers documenting the decay. These places are liabilities, costing money to maintain even a basic level of security and safety, a constant drain on struggling local finances. However, not all ghost cities are still ghosts. The government, in a massive effort to salvage the situation, has implemented a series of radical and sometimes desperate policies. Some of the better located and better designed cities have seen a targeted effort at revitalization. For example, some have been repurposed as specialized economic zones, focusing on specific industries like green energy, artificial intelligence, or biotech. The government offers massive tax breaks and subsidies to lure companies and the talent they need. In these select cases, a slow but steady trickle of population has begun. They aren't the bustling metropolises that were originally envisioned, but they are becoming functional, albeit quiet, towns. Another strategy has been conversion. Empty residential towers have been transformed into subsidized social housing for low-income families, or dormitories for migrant workers. Some commercial districts have been converted into vast logistics and warehousing hubs for e-commerce companies. It's a pragmatic approach. If you can't get the residents you wanted, find new uses for the infrastructure you have. But this process is slow, expensive, and not always successful. You can't just turn a luxury mall into a warehouse overnight. The infrastructure was designed for a completely different purpose. The human story in 2026 is perhaps the most compelling. In some of these partially revived cities, a new type of pioneer has emerged. Young artists, digital nomads, and small business owners are drawn by the incredibly low cost of living. They can rent spacious apartments for a fraction of the price in Beijing or Shanghai. This has led to the emergence of small, creative communities in the unlikeliest of places. They repurpose empty storefronts into art galleries, cafes, and co-working spaces. It's a strange, almost surreal existence, living a modern, connected life against a backdrop of vast, empty urban landscapes. These communities are small, but they represent a grassroots form of urban rebirth, driven by people, policy. However, for every story of revival, there are countless others of hardship. Many families are still trapped, living in partially occupied ghost cities with non-existent services. Imagine living in a high-rise where you are one of only a handful of families. There are no schools, no hospitals, and the nearest grocery store is a 30-minute drive away. The promised subway line was never completed. It's an isolated and challenging life, a far cry from the vibrant urban community they were sold. Looking back from 2026, the story of Chinese ghost cities is a powerful cautionary tale about the dangers of debt-fueled growth and top-down planning that ignores the real needs of people. It shows that you can't simply build a city and expect people to come. A city is more than just concrete and steel. It's a living organism that needs jobs, community, and culture to thrive. The legacy of these ghost cities will shape China for decades to come, serving as a constant reminder that the path to prosperity is often more complex and fraught with peril than it appears. The great urban dream has left a scar on the landscape and on the national psyche, one that will take a long time to heal. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into the future of China's ghost cities interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the forces shaping our world. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next one.